The dinner was held in a fancy hotel ballroom, full of polished smiles and expensive suits. I felt out of place the moment we walked in, my simple dress suddenly feeling too plain under the bright lights. My husband squeezed my hand and told me I looked beautiful, but I could tell he was already slipping into his professional world, where confidence was everything. As we sat at the table with his coworkers, the conversation turned to promotions, bonuses, and overseas trips. I smiled politely, nodding along, even though I didn't have much to add. I had left my own career years ago to support my husband and raise our family. A choice I never regretted until that night. Halfway through dinner, one of his coworkers leaned back in his chair and looked directly at me. With a smug grin, he said loudly, "So, what's it like being a loser?" The table went silent. I felt my face burn as every pair of eyes turned toward me. I glanced at my husband, expecting him to laugh it off or change the subject. Instead, he stayed quiet, staring at his plate. That silence hurt more than the insult itself. It felt like a confirmation that maybe in that room, I really didn't matter. I forced a weak smile and excused myself to the restroom. Inside, I stared at my reflection, fighting back tears. I reminded myself of the years I had worked late nights, the sacrifices I made, and the dreams I put aside for our family. None of that made me a loser. When I returned to the table, dessert had arrived, and the conversation had moved on as if nothing had happened. My husband avoided my eyes. The drive home was quiet, heavy with unspoken words. That silence followed us into the house and lasted for days. Finally, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told him how humiliated I felt and how deeply his silence had hurt me. He looked shocked, then ashamed. He admitted he froze because he was afraid of rocking the boat at work. That answer broke something inside me. I told him respect shouldn't be optional, especially when it comes to your spouse. I didn't need grand gestures, but I needed to know he would stand beside me, even when it was uncomfortable. A week later, my husband surprised me by inviting me to lunch. He apologized sincerely and told me he had spoken to his coworker and made it clear that such behavior was unacceptable. More importantly, he said he realized how much he had taken my support for granted. Over the next few months, things slowly changed. My husband started including me more in his world, openly acknowledging my sacrifices. I also began rebuilding parts of myself I had set aside, taking classes and rediscovering my confidence. We attended another work event later that year. The same coworker avoided me completely, but it didn't matter anymore. I walked into that room with my head held high, knowing my worth didn't depend on anyone else's opinion. That night taught me a hard lesson. Silence can wound just as deeply as words. But it also showed me that confronting pain can lead to growth. I wasn't a loser, I was someone who deserved respect. And I finally made sure I got it.